Hey guys, Bob here from Raw Strength and Muscle, and I've got a very interesting question from the comment section. I'm gonna get into it. First of all, let me just say this is about testosterone replacement, okay, TRT. As always, this is not legal or medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but I am a dude who's 47 years old. I've been on TRT since 43, so it's about 4 solid years of having been on TRT. So I'm just giving you guys like my experience, okay, or my self-education. So when you talk to your doctor, you'll kind of have a better idea of what to discuss with him than if you didn't know about my experiences, okay? So not medical or legal advice, of course, but listen, very interesting way this guy stated this question. PHW Gorilla says, here's what I want to know that I can't find anywhere on the internet. I want you to tell us how long you stay on an estrogen blocker. Do you stay on it for a couple weeks? Do you stay on it for a month? Do you stay on it for the whole time you're on TRT? I know it's different for everybody. I understand that. I just want to literally hear somebody speak out loud about how long to take an AI and stop trying to hide the length of time they take it, because I can't find anyone anywhere on YouTube that will talk about that in particular. This sounds almost like an accusation. Like some people talk about fake netties. Like, I don't care if you're on drugs. I just want you to be honest. Just tell the truth. And it's like, so people like me, like, I admit I'm on TRT. Why is it that this guy's like, I just want I want to literally hear someone speak out loud about how long they take an AI. It's like, are we lying? Are there people like, yeah, I take testosterone, but I don't take an AI. I mean, of course, I would never cheat. I don't understand why it seems like, he thinks there's like this subterfuge, there's this like, conspiracy theory about people who admit to taking testosterone but lie about their use of an AI. It just seems kind of weird. Maybe, like, I'm reading into this, maybe this is in the guy's first language, like English isn't his first language, which I understand, of course, but like I said, it seems like a very interestingly formulated question. Okay, how long do you stay on an estrogen blocker? Okay, couple weeks, month, do you stay on it the whole time you're on TRT? I know it's different for everybody. Okay, so check it out. Testosterone replacement therapy is a therapy, okay? It is like a medically therapeutical dosage. Now, the reason why you get this from a doctor is because your shit ain't working the way it's supposed to be, okay? So basically, you are going to be on testosterone for life, okay? And you are going to be on the same dosage for life, okay? So it's not like, I take testosterone sometimes. Like, I was prescribed, 200 mgs of test, a cc of test a week, because I was 43. Average testosterone is 300 to 1100. I had in the 300s, which was like the very bargain basement of what's considered normal. Now, normal is for like an 18-year-old or a 20-year-old all the way up to a 70-year-old man. So basically, I was 43 and I had like the testosterone levels that would be acceptable if I was 70 years old, okay? So talking to the doctor, he's like, we need to double this. I get it up from like, your 300 up to like 700, 800. So it's at the higher end of what's considered normal, as opposed to like the very bottom of what's considered normal. Now, my body don't produce the right testosterone anymore. Just the way life is. I was 43 when I had to jump on. Some people jump on earlier, some people never jump on. I needed it to get up to the higher levels of what's considered normal. So if I were to stop taking testosterone, my testosterone levels would go back down to, at the best, 300. Now, since I've been on for so long, they might drop even lower, okay? So best case scenario, I have the 70-year-old levels of testosterone I did when I started. Worst case scenario, or the more likely scenario, I would have like under 300 levels of testosterone if I were to stop. So I am never going to stop testosterone again. I am never going to change my dosage of testosterone, okay? This is the proper dosage for me, and it's never really going to change, okay? Now, so it's not like I'm ever going to come off testosterone, so I'm always going to have to take an aromatase inhibitor. Now, at the same time, I am not like blasting like an asshole, okay? Where like, kids these days, I'm on testosterone, and then what they do is they go from their like, like 200 mgs to like 500, 700, 1,000 mgs a week for a while, and then they go back down to their 200 mgs. In that case, yes, you would, as you increase your testosterone dosage, have to increase your aromatase inhibitor dosage. But once again, we're talking about therapeutic testosterone. If you don't increase your testosterone, if you don't stop your testosterone, you are never going to need more or less aromatase inhibitor than when you started. So testosterone for life, aromatase inhibitor for life. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some reasons why you would change your amount of aromatase inhibitor that you need, okay? It's not because, oh, I'm only on it for a month or a week or whatever. It's basically the hardest thing, and ask anybody who's been on TRT, like proper testosterone replacement, they will tell you the hardest thing is to get your estrogen under control, okay? Men have estrogen and testosterone. Women have estrogen and testosterone. The difference is women have a lot of estrogen and a little bit of testosterone. Men have a little estrogen and a lot of testosterone. So you can't just cancel out the amount of estrogen you have in your body. Well, the lower is the better. That would be great. I would just grab Arimidex like Pez, feel good. My estrogen's low, 0, great. If it goes too low, you have problems. If it goes too high, you have problems, okay? If your estrogen goes too high, ask any woman who's ever menstruated, she'll tell you, estrogen goes up and down and all kinds of weird things with the hormones. You retain water. The bad thing about retaining water, aside from the fact that you just look like a bloated puffer fish, is when you retain water, your blood pressure might go up, okay? When your estrogen goes up, your moods might change, okay? So you don't want to have high estrogen. At the same time, there are like heart and brain and neurological benefits to having the proper amount of estrogen. So like I said, if you crush it, your sex drive is gonna go down to 0. You're not gonna have these like neuroprotective, cardioprotective benefits from estrogen. You're gonna, your joints are gonna dry up. I mean, like lots of bad things are gonna happen if it goes too low. So the hardest part about testosterone is getting your estrogen in the proper balance. So if somebody does change his aromatase inhibitor dosage while he's on testosterone replacement, it's because he's trying to get it dialed in, okay? My case, when I jumped on, I actually had low estrogen, okay? Before I jumped on TRT, got complete blood work, of course, low estrogen. So what happened? Well, my estrogen was a little bit under where it should have been. And when I jumped on TRT, everything started feeling better, okay? Then at a certain point, things started to not feel that good. So what I think happened, and what my doctor believes happened, is my estrogen was under this range of what's considered normal. I jumped on testosterone, some of it converted to estrogen, so it went up to where it was supposed to be. I started feeling good, and then it kept going up above where it was supposed to be. So basically, like my libido and everything improved. I mean, I wasn't like impotent before I jumped on TRT, but like it just improved. My libido, my erections, everything was great. I felt good. My mood and my depression, everything was great when I was on testosterone. And then when it started creeping up, my estrogen creeped up too high, all of those benefits started to go down again. So that's when I had to figure out how to use Arimidex, okay? Like I said, like most people, I took too much, crashed my E2, that sucked, okay, because my estrogen was too low. So I had to go ahead and back off, wait for my estrogen to raise up again, and then take less Arimidex. For me, okay, shooting my testosterone once or twice a week, okay, it didn't matter for me. I had to take 1/4 of an Arimidex every 3 days. That made me feel good. So regardless of when I took my testosterone, every 3 days I would take 1/4 of a tablet of Arimidex. So that's how I changed it, okay? Why did I change it? Because I had to figure out to get it dialed in. I tried using 1 every few days. I tried using half a tab every few days. It ended up being, after several weeks, maybe a couple months, I ended up deciding on 1/4 of a milligram of Arimidex every 3 days. I do not like to take any drugs I don't have to take. So I started seeing some things in the internet, okay? Like other guys were talking about how they would use, zinc, okay? 50 mgs zinc in the morning and at night. And these were guys who were on steroids, okay? They were literally taking like 500, 700, 1,000, 1.5 grams of testosterone a week. And all they would take is 50 mgs of zinc in the morning, 50 mgs of zinc at the night. Good for them, didn't work for me, okay? On my 200 mgs, taking zinc in the morning and at night, I wasn't good enough for me. I couldn't, it wouldn't change anything. So that didn't work. Then what happened after that? Well, after that, I tried switching my injections to twice a week, okay? So instead of every Friday taking 1 cc, I took half a cc Friday, half a cc Monday. The same amount, but it was split up more. The idea being, when you don't take as much testosterone at once, you don't have this giant spike in testosterone, which spikes the conversion to estrogen, and then this crash where you have like too much testosterone in the beginning of the week and then too little at the end of the week. You basically just have like more even. Didn't change anything for me. Then I was following some other guys, like I said, on YouTube, kind of looking around, seeing what the deal is. And they started talking about taking DIM and CDG, okay? Basically 100 mgs DIM, 500 mgs CDG morning and night. And at the same time, what I did was I switched around. Instead of injecting my testosterone with a big needle, like a 3 cc syringe, 1 inch long needle, I just used insulin needles and I took 1/4 of a cc every other day. Now that changed a couple of things. What it did is, first of all, it changed my, it spread out the amount of testosterone I had. So instead of taking a whole cc, and then not taking anything for the rest of the week, or taking half a cc twice a week, I took 1/4 of a cc, day off, 1/4 of a cc, day off, 1/4 of a cc, day off. So it was a much smaller bump, okay? A much smaller bump and a much smaller drop. So it was pretty even. Another thing is, there are 7 days in a week. So in 7 days, instead of having 200 mgs, now I was taking in, it's 3.5 doses a week, all right? 4 doses 1 week, 3 doses the next week. So the average is 3.5 doses at 1/4 of a cc, which means it was basically 175 instead of 200 mgs per week. So I dropped the dosage down a tiny bit and I took it more often, fewer spikes, fewer high points, fewer low points. And I took the DIM and the CDG twice a day, and now I do not need a Arimidex, okay? So, like I said, I really don't understand the question. I don't think anybody is admitting to using testosterone but lying about their AI use, like this big conspiracy. Basically, the bottom line is you need, okay, 2 things. Number 1, you need to find out what works for you, okay? The amount you take, how often you take it, like how much per injection, how many times a week. The types of things you take with it, okay, will also change. So like I said, if you took, for some people, they can get away with using zinc. I cannot. I could get away with using, if I split it up, using DIM and CDG. That works for me. But like I said, aside from that though, you need to find out what works for you. And for me, it took a long time to get the Arimidex dialed in. Then it took me a while of playing around with injection frequency. And then finally, like I said, CDG and DIM morning and night, 1/4 of a cc every other day, drop the dosage down a little bit by doing that. And now I feel fine, okay? So that's the only reason why anybody would ever change. Once you get it dialed in and you're happy, you want to stay there, okay? You want to stay there because it's such like a balancing act. It's like, you got to get your testosterone up, but you got to get your estrogen low, but not too low, but not too high. And when you finally got all these plates spinning, the last thing you need to do is go ahead and just change shit for the sake of changing it. So nobody ever will really change. Once it's dialed in, their aromatase inhibitor. And now I just want to mention another thing that kind of popped into my head when I was thinking about this video is, so far as I understand, okay, the estrogen conversion takes place in like your fat cells somehow, okay? The bottom line is, however it happens, because I've never really looked into this, the bottom line is the more body fat you have, the more likely you are to convert testosterone into estrogen. So that is another thing that could possibly happen. Let's say you start TRT and you're overweight, okay? Start TRT, you're overweight, the testosterone, because of all the body fat you have, converts easily into estrogen. you may have to have higher levels of aromatase inhibitors just to keep it down because the body fat is causing a huge amount. Now, let's say you get everything kind of dialed in, but because you're taking testosterone, you're less depressed, you're more motivated, you have this positive aggression, like this go-getter attitude. Your hormones are working better. You go to the gym because, like I said, you're not depressed. You got, this positive aggression. Like, I'm going to go to the gym when I say I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do what I say. So you're going to the gym. You're eating proper. You get benefits from the gym. You get benefits from the diet, which means, hey, I'm doing good. Let me do more. I can keep going to the gym. Be more consistent. Keep doing, dieting. Be more consistent. And then you start cutting fat, both from the workouts and from the diet. Well, now, if you have less body fat, you may theoretically convert estrogen to a smaller degree. So you wouldn't be changing just for no apparent reason because you feel like it, your aromatase inhibitor. But if you were to lose body fat, you would produce less estrogen, which means you would need fewer or lower dose or less often dose of aromatase inhibitor. So that's another example where somebody may change their dosage of aromatase inhibitor, but like I said, it wouldn't be because they wanted to. It's just because, hey, when I was at 40% body fat, I was converting like a motherfucker, and all this testosterone was just pouring over into estrogen. I needed to take Remedix all day. Now you get down from 40% to 20% to 15% body fat. You're producing a lot less estrogen because you're keeping the testosterone levels the same, but you have less body fat, so you're producing less and less estrogen. You're aromatizing less. Then, like I said, you may want to change or may have to change because the same amount of aromatase inhibitor that brought your estrogen into range when you were fat is now crushing your estrogen and pushing it too low. Okay, so like I said, there are reasons why people would change their levels of AI use, okay, frequency or dosage or whatever, or type of AI they're using. But like I said, it's not something that you change just for shits and giggles. It's really literally just something that you change because you want to, because like I said, because your situation changes, So anyway, like I said, this is not medical or legal advice. This is just basically, something that I went through, something that everybody else goes through. I enjoyed reading about this in forums, like personal experiences from people, because a lot of times doctors suck. Doctors really just want their money. And I'm not talking about like a TRT mill where they just give you give me money and I'll give you a prescription for wherever you want. I'm not talking about like some of the endocrinologists and general practitioners are worse than like the fucking TRT mills that will just give you a fucking prescription because they just don't know and they just don't care, Like I said, you get people out there, hey, just go ahead and shoot up every 2 weeks. That's fucking stupid. Do not inject testosterone every 2 weeks. Go to a fucking completely different doctor. There's another guy that was talking about, he had like very low testosterone. It was like in like 300, 400. And his doctor's like, well, just take a test booster if you want to increase your test. They don't work. If a doctor tells you that, run the fuck away from that doctor. Okay, he's not a real doctor. Like, I don't know where the fuck he got that idea from. There's another guy who commented on one of my videos. He says he went into his doctor. I think I'm getting gyno. The doctor sat at his desk in front of this guy who commented, in front of the patient, looked up what gynecomastia is, looked up the symptoms, looked up the treatment, and then gave him the exact treatment he just read about. The doctor didn't know what the fuck gyno was. But he just looked in the internet. Yeah, it looks like you got gyno. Okay, according to PubMed, it looks like you got gyno here. According to, eDoctor, whatever. And then he just went ahead and gave him a prescription for whatever fucking he read about in the internet. Like I said, doctors don't know the fucking, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, most people suck at their jobs. I don't care if you're working fucking cleaning toilets at Walmart or fucking sweeping floors or digging ditches or if you're a fucking doctor or a lawyer. Most people suck at their jobs. So like I said, I'm not giving legal or medical advice. I'm just telling you, this is what you need to talk to your doctor about. And if your doctor says this, this, or this, get the fuck out of his office. Don't turn around. Don't turn your back. Just back out of his office. Okay, like they say in Germany. So go out the door backwards, as they say in Germany. And like I said, just completely fucking ignore this guy's advice and get yourself a real doctor and have a conversation with him. Then, like I said, then you'll know you're talking to a doctor who kind of has half-assed of an idea of what he's talking about. Okay? So anyway, the point is, Still don't understand the question because, like I said, it seems almost like this guy's like, there's a conspiracy. People are not admitting. I just want you to admit you're on an AI. It's like, why would you admit you're on testosterone and why about using a aromatase inhibitor? You know, nobody cares about the aromatase inhibitor. It's like when Brock Lesnar came apart from like, you know, Clomid or whatever PCT drugs, you know, after he fought fucking, you know, Mark Hunt. It's like, nobody cares that Brock Lesnar was using Clomid. But we all know he was using Clomid because he was on all kinds of shit and then he jumped off and he had to have the Clomid to get his shit working again as a PCT, a post-cycle therapy, to get off the fucking steroids. And that's the fucking problem. You know, it's the same thing here. Like I'm admitting that I'm on testosterone. Is there a conspiracy? I'm lying. Yes, I use testosterone, but I don't use an aromatase inhibitor. I would never cheat like that. Like I'm on TRT. What the fuck's the deal? AI is part of it. It's just the way life is sometimes. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Once again, not medical or legal advice, okay? But I do appreciate you guys watching the video. If you have any more questions, just let me know. Another thing is, a couple guys hit me up on Instagram and said they liked this like True Fan Tuesday thing I was doing, where basically if a guy puts out a longer question, kind of like this, that I would actually break it down, you know, like put out like, what do you think about this workout? What do you think about my diet? What do you think about this? What do you think? So if somebody were to go ahead and put out like a big, you know, like, hey, a more thought out question, I would give a more thought out answer in a more thought out longer video. So like I said, I'd like to bring back True Fan Tuesday. So like I said, if you guys want to go ahead and ask a question in the comment section that, like I said, you put a little bit of thought into, I will go ahead and give you a more thought out answer. Just saying. And of course, if you want like legitimate, I guarantee I will get back to you every single day support from me, you got to check out the RSA and Brotherhood. It's my group coaching program. You get all of my courses on diet, all my courses on workouts. Plus, you get a community where you can ask me questions about anything, and I'll get back to you that day. Plus, weekly live calls. Like I said, if you guys really want like guaranteed answers from me, guaranteed talking to me at least once a week on Zoom, go ahead and check out rsaandbrotherhood.com. Aside from that, thanks for watching the video. Not medical or legal advice. Like, subscribe, notifications. I'll see you guys in the next video.